I'm not gonna lie, it's not just like a fell for it again award for the Republicans, but also for the Democrats too. Because like lost to this again award goes to the Democrats. If we're gonna do fell for it again award for the Republicans that voted for this, then we gotta do the lost to this again award for the Democrats. GOP town halls are back and people are angry.
Not the president. And you are doing us a disservice to set that down and not stand up for us. And
So if we're going to have a town hall, and I'm going to come and stand in front of you and take your questions and try to answer them as honestly as I can, then let's do that, okay? But if you're going to just yell at me, that's not going to be an effective town hall. I get it.
Trump just deputized unelected billionaire Elon Musk's private bodyguards, giving them rights and protections reserved for federal law enforcement. USA! That means Elon Musk's personal private security detail can detain people now. That's crazy. Breaking news. Trump is preparing to... Oh my God. Every waking moment of this goddamn administration, dude. Every moment of this administration is another crisis, dude. Holy breaking news. I don't want to hear the word breaking news any longer. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear breaking news. I want news to not break. Breaking news. Trump is preparing to dissolve the leadership of the U.S. Postal Service and absorb the independent mail agency into his administration, potentially throwing the mail provider and trillions of dollars of e-commerce transactions into turmoil. Bro, I just got a USPS job. Jesus Christ. Last day has been the worst polling day for Trump during his entire second term. 4 polls show his net approval rating underwater. Like The Little Mermaid, the 3 polls show a trend line showing his ratings going down. His one-time strength, the economy, is now a weakness.
The last day and change has been the worst day of polling for Donald Trump during his entire second term in office. What am I talking about here? Take a look at Trump's net approval.
Okay, but that's like, it's a month in so far, and it's been a disastrous month so far. Are hogs still celebrating? Hogs don't know what's going on. They just, dude, you just saw one in the wild earlier that turned around and said, see, so much transparency coming from this admin. Because why? Because Donald Trump rambles into any camera that will have him for 3 hours about how sick he is. And then turns around and is like, we're giving $7 billion of condoms to Hamas. That's it. These guys are not, they're reacting to shapes and colors barely, okay? Barely. They don't have any understanding of what's going on. They have no understanding of how this will impact them. Here's a well-educated hog, Jesse Waters. Jesse Waters was all for Doge until cuts impacted his friend. Need to be a little bit less callous. Waters suggested people should be more sympathetic towards employees facing job cuts as a result of Doge. Dude, classic conservatism. I ain't give a until it impacts me in some way, okay? I don't care until it hurts me or someone that I know. God, I hate it. I hate conservatives so much. They literally have made selfishness be their ideology. Imagine living in a world where selfishness is your primary directive. How is this appropriate? It does not make sense. It does not make sense that other people don't see this. It's not even like leopards eat my face, okay? That happens all the time. Chickens come home to roost. That happens all the time. Which, by the way, is not even a chicken coming home to roost because, like, it's not... I don't know Jesse Waters' friend's attitude. This is what I've been talking about. This is what I've been talking about. It's like when you do mass layoffs, you're not only laying off like gay woke Democrats, dude. Oh, it turns out DEI also meant veterans. What? That's crazy. Who could have foreseen this, chat? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Okay, here.
Let me tell you a story about Chris. Chris was a guy I met at a shooting event in New Jersey last year.
Was Chris in the interview? Or this is another guy? This is Chris.
Is it a male or female?
Let me finish.
Oh.
55 billion.
I love you. And so he was a 20-year veteran of the U.S. military. He was one of these guys in one of these elite units. Killed a lot of bad guys. Put his life on the line. And now he punched out after 20 years and working for the Pentagon. And he's only been there a few months, so he's probationary. And he just found out he's probably going to get laid off. He's going to get doged. And he texted me and he said, Jesse, you know, this isn't good. I'm upset. This is really sad. And this guy's not a DEI consultant. This guy's not a climate consultant.
Dumbass. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's a vet. Veterans are also part of DEI initiatives. So he is. But also, it doesn't matter. He's just getting fired because he's a probationary employee. Oh, my God. Now, of course, this is not even a Leopards ate my face ass moment. It was bound to happen. It was, of course, bound to happen. And it's going to keep happening. Okay? It's going to keep happening. These guys are so stupid. How can you assume that all... First of all, number one, is it even appropriate to fire all of the Democrat Party voters from the federal regulatory agencies? Of course not. But even then, are you stupid enough to think that they're not going to be firing Republicans? Are you that dumb? The answer is yes, okay? The answer is yes. It's Fell For It Again award every day, okay? It is the Fell For It Again Olympics every day. That's it. Yes, they are stupid. And a lot of hogs are so stupid that even if they get fired, they won't even understand. That's going to be the maximalist hog position. I got fired, but ultimately it was for good purpose. They fired all the trans too on the side, and that's a good thing. And also, I got fired, but I still think it's because of undocumented immigrants. Okay? These guys are not exactly smart. They're not, and I'm not talking about the hogs that love Trump. They're obviously stupid too. But Trump and Elon Musk are not like doing this for good reason. They're not doing these mass layoffs. They're doing it because they can. They're doing it because they want to cripple the federal government, the administrative state. They want to destroy it. And then they want to privatize it. So yeah, in this period of instability, there's going to be a little bit of pain is the way that they is the way that they look at it. The rural dudes at our local Fed facility still blame minorities for them getting fired. Once said it was collective punishment of hardworking Americans. See, there you go. You'll always find a dumbass hog. There's an endless well of depravity there, and it's an endless well of stupidity as well. Even when you go, oh, how stupid can they get? The answer is much, much stupider, okay? Much dumber.
This guy is a veteran. So when you're talking about doging people, veterans should get priority. Because if you're going to go out there and kill enemies and put your life on the line for this country, you shouldn't be in the same category as people that are doing DEI. Now,
he's a veteran. That's also DEI.
Harold and his ilk like to talk about the slash and burn corporate ethos. We just need to be a little bit less callous with the way Harold...
It shouldn't have taken an immediate friend getting fired for a person who is a professional pundit on the most popular news network in America to go, oh, maybe it's not the best idea to just fire every probationary employee. Like, it shouldn't get to this point, okay? So much of the conservative commentary, so much of conservative ideology just simply revolves around you, I got mine. It's basically being selfish as a virtue. They think being selfish as a political ideology is awesome, is based, okay? It blows my mind. I don't want Republicans nor Democrats who are working at these agencies to be fired, okay? I don't want them to be fired. Oh.
We talk about doging people, okay? I want that to sink in.
You're arguing with yourself.
No, I am not guilty of that.
Yourself.
I finally found one person I knew that got doged, and it hit me in the heart.
Even then, he just doesn't really care that much, I don't think, but maybe that's just me. But yeah, here's more. After getting booed for defending Doge cuts, McCormick, a Republican from Georgia, is trying to sell to constituents at his town hall on cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. It's going about how you would expect. Uh-oh. Who could have foreseen this?
Compromise, okay? we have solutions that we agreed on. That I have 4 Democrats that said that they were willing to. We're not going to take it away from anybody who has it.
Yeah, who could forget this wonderful representative who famously said on CNN, from Georgia, by the way, that children should get jobs instead of getting free school breakfast and lunch. If you are wondering how deep does the well of depravity go, you will never see the bottom of it. Here is that guy. I'm going to get back to how his constituents are reacting to the Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security cuts, though, that he's advocating for.
That is a valid goal, right, to save money and be more efficient, right? But
No! Shut up! It's not! Shut up! Why is Liptard on CNN being like, well, you know, it is a valid goal? No! How about it's not a valid goal, okay? I'm done. I'm done with this I hate this. Oh my God, liberals. No, don't concede at any point. There is no reason to concede. They never do. They are depraved.
the bottom line is, right now with this freeze, vulnerable populations could be directly impacted. And so my question to you, just to follow up with you, would you support getting rid of school lunch for vulnerable kids and breakfast and Head Start, for example, and getting rid of childhood cancer research? Do you support that? And what do you say to your constituents? I want to follow up on that question too, because I didn't hear an answer from you.
Sure. So I'm an ER doc, and I know that philanthropy is where you get most of your money for childhood cancer research, for example. And it's not just child. I mean, you look at what the president just proposed, a $500 billion spending bill on AI to produce cancer early detection in the first stage on most body parts. That's his spending bill where he wants to increase cancer research. So it's just about what part of the money it comes out of. When you talk about school lunches, hey, I worked my way through high school. I don't know about you, but I worked since I was, before I was even 13 years old. I was picking berries in the field before we had child labor laws that precluded that. I was a paper boy. And when I was in high school, I worked my entire way through. You're telling me that kids who stay at home instead of going to work at Burger King, McDonald's during the summer, should stay at home and get their free lunch instead of going to work? I think we need to have a top-down review. Think about where kids need to actually be.
You don't understand. I'm saying work sets you free. These 10-year-olds should go work at the goddamn mines. You understand me? This is my congressperson, by the way. It's literally my hometown city hall. Yeah. We got too many children. I'm anti-child.
Gosh, I would say that's not necessarily a fair assessment of all of the kids. So you would say all the kids.
No, just like what he is saying is horrifying. Your response is inadequate. I'm sorry. That is a horrifying thing to say. Yeah, that's right. 10-year-olds should be picking berries on the field is a psychotic position to have as a wealthy Republican who is living in 2025 in the wealthiest nation on the planet. What? He's smiling from ear to ear when he's like, yeah, that's right. Children need to start picking berries.
Kids in your district who use the free lunch, for example, or breakfast, they're all just sitting at home and not working. Okay, I just want to clarify because that seems like what you were trying to insinuate.
This gives us a chance. This gives us a chance, though, to see where is the money really being spent. Who can actually go and actually produce their own income? Who can actually go out there and do something that makes them have value and work?
I sometimes think to myself, like, how would I react if I was an anchor on CNN and the Republican congressperson that I'm interviewing said something like this? And I truly, I just don't know. I would be like, okay, well, you, anyway, I can't even say it. I don't want to say what I am thinking right now. Okay. Like, this is like a meme, dude. It's psychotic. It's insane. You are a psychopath. You are a bad person. Okay. I'm going to say the nicest things I can say. If they had any, you'd be on national TV interviewing this someone like you. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason why I am not, that interested in doing that as well.
Work skills for the future. I mean, how many people got their start in fast food restaurants when they were kids versus just giving a blanket rule that gives all kids lunches in high school who are capable of going out and actually getting a job and doing something that makes them have value, thinking about their future instead of thinking about how they're going to sponge out the government when they don't need to. We don't give people value. We don't give them the ability to dig themselves out when we penalize them for actually working and actually keep them on welfare. That's what's been the inner city problem for a very long time. We need to have a top-down review so we can get people out of poverty, because you know what? America's very good at creating jobs and giving people worth. And we've been very traditionally good at that, but we're losing our way. And that's when we give people incentives to stay at home and not work. That doesn't work for America.
But a lot of these kids aren't even of like working age. They're young kids, and as you well know, and also some of the kids at Head Start, they're like 5 and under.
You should know in every aspect of society, even our state and local government sessions, it is this polite, passive, loser, spineless reactions from Dems when conservatives say the most unhinged things. I do my best to bring an ounce of heart here at the VA General Assembly, brother. You made things very clear for me. I hope others also pay attention to what you're doing. This should probably hit Larry, and by the way, literally saying that we need to evaluate how valuable each mouth to feed is and allocate resources in their direction instead of the mouths that aren't as valuable or productive and are leeches. Yeah, we need to give rich kids more food. Take it away from the poor kids. Make them work for it extra hard. Children need to learn the importance of passive income. Make them get into a cryptocurrency scheme. Anyway, here he is telling a bunch of old people that he's going to cut their health care.
We're not going to take it away, change anything for anybody who's about to get it. But maybe if you're 10 years away, you adjust it by 3 months. You're 20 years away, you adjust it by 6 months. You're 30 years away, you adjust it by a year.
Yeah. It's like, oh, if you're still getting it, you're getting it. But if you haven't gotten it yet, well, you might not get it.
Lifting the cap when you have $36 trillion of debt and you're the world currency, you're the standard world currency, and you're paying $1 trillion of debt interest per year is not going to fix the eventual.
Doing this in Florida especially is insane. No, he's doing it in Georgia. But that also still is insane because he's a Republican, and the people that go to a town hall in general, especially for a safe Republican seat in a safe Republican district, is always going to be mostly people that are on Medicaid, or I mean Medicare, and also Social Security, which is wild. Like, at least lie to them, dumbass. Why are you just straight up being like, yeah, we're going to cut it?
Economic collapse of the United States. It's just not. It's just not. If you don't do something with Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, which is 75% of our budget, is mandatory spending. 75%. Google it right now. 75% of your budget is mandatory spending. We have a 30% deficit. If you cut all of your military and all of your discretionary spending, you still have a shortfall. We are heading towards a cliff of where we will no longer be the economic standard of the world, which we've been since 1972, and you will lose your place in history, you'll lose your buying power, your interest rate will go up, and you'll add $9 trillion.
We're all trying to get through this.
That's so funny to talk about like American debt to a room full of people that don't give a about it. Okay. Oh man, really? Oh, we have a lot of debt. That's crazy, man. Okay, so you're just gonna take away my health care? Are you insane? The Trump administration has announced that it will kill Medicare coverage of most telehealth services on April 1st. This is an April Fool's meme, right? I hope they're just doing an April Fool's. Once again, the Trump administration, literally every person at town hall voted for Kamala, and the rest of the town, 90% voted for Trump and loves Trump and thinks food stamps should be illegal and children should have mandatory mine work. It's funny that America's so cooked, dude. America is so busted. Also, cutting telehair, you want to know, cutting telehealth. Cutting telehealth is so stupid because partially you're just cooking your own fans again. Okay? You're cooking rural people that have a higher likelihood to vote for Donald Trump. Like, those are the people that use telehealth. Oh, there aren't any doctors in Arkansas that will diagnose me with EDS, a physical disability. Ay, ay, ay. And Postal Service too. Like, cutting telehealth and cutting U.S. Postal Service, unironically, is just actively trying to kill your own fan base. But then again, they did this during COVID. They just literally lied to their fans. New Wall Street Journal story. Big brands do not want to advertise on X for obvious reasons. Every third tweet is spam, porn, or Nazi stuff. but the company has explicitly been threatening them, saying they may face political consequences for not ponying up. X upped the ante in early January by alerting the court that it planned to add more names to the lawsuit, which left advertisers fretting for weeks over whether they would be next. On February 1st, X added about half a dozen more advertisers to the litigation. Some of the advertisers we work with have expressed that they feel there is an implied threat from X that they could be added to the lawsuit if they don't return to X. The legal threat has hung over the industry, including in sideline conversation during CES in January, a major event that attracts top advertising agencies and media and tech companies. Maybe I'm a dumbass, but how is that legal? I realize now. I realize what's going on. It just finally clicked. I grew up in Turkey, okay? So there was no point in time when Recep Tayyip Erdogan was rising to power did the Turkish people turn around and go, how is this legal? Okay? Because there wasn't this like faulty underlying premise that the institutions were supposed to be working. Okay? We all just kind of understood what was going on. And I think the reason why Americans keep asking this question is because they have this notion that the law is supposed to work. Okay? Now, this level of egregious violations of the law, okay, is unique to America. But in the past, you could get away with a lot of stuff, especially if you did it in a covert way, especially if you were wealthy. But if you grew up in a country that is a developing nation, outside of the sphere of Western influence, outside of like Western Europe, you are very familiar with what is going on. As a matter of fact, I'd go so far as to say most people, maybe not in this community because most of you guys live in America or Canada or Western Europe, but most people on the planet know what is going on. I know what is going on. I've been talking about it nonstop. It doesn't matter. I don't know how else to describe it to you. It literally does not matter. Okay? It doesn't. Americans still have this belief that like, you know, the institutions will protect us. It's like, no, we are now entering a very different territory for America, at least, that is a very familiar territory for everyone that grew up in India, for example. Exactly. Arun says, I've literally been saying that the U.S. is rapidly becoming India super fast. Yeah. Like, this is exactly the type of This is exactly the type of that happens pretty much everywhere else. Okay? And most people are used to this happening. And they just kind of, you know, they just kind of take it. There's not really much you can do. And I just realized now, like, why do people always ask, like, what's going on? Like, isn't that illegal? Is a very funny question that I think only Americans ask. Because everywhere else around the world, nobody turns around and goes, is that legal? What's happening? It's not. And it doesn't matter. It's illegal. It's not. No competent, real administration would allow this to happen. We are just not in that we don't exist in that playing field any longer. Germany does that. No, that's the difference. That's why I said Europe is different. America is different. Canada is different. But if you live anywhere in the global south, or if you live in a developing nation, this is not a unique predicament. What you are experiencing is something that you have experienced growing up. I teach ESL to adult students, and we had a conversation after class about this. Most of my students are from South America and the West Indies, and they literally are horrified that they're seeing the same things that happen in their homes happen here. Oh, yeah. In the U.S., is the dog can't play basketball meme? No, there's a difference there. Because, listen, when it comes to social safety nets, I've long maintained the position that America is a third world nation with a Gucci belt. Like, we're super wealthy, but we also, mistreat our citizens pretty egregiously. But in comparison to a lot of the other countries that are still existing in the ruins of American empire, okay, some of these institutions are at least tasked with masquerading as competent institutions. Like, there is some semblance of rule of law here, okay? While our social safety nets have never actually kept up with other Western European counterparts, there is at least like some of the institutions are supposed to every now and then defend principles in an effort to not undermine public confidence in said institutions. Now we've moved into a different territory where it doesn't really matter. It's more of a, what the fuck are you going to do about it situation? That's where we're at. What's interesting about this what's interesting about this situation is that this is not an exclusively American problem. What happens in America inevitably will happen in Western Europe and inevitably will happen in Canada as well. When Canadians and Europeans look to America's car wreck, train crash, and go, wow, look at these. What they fail to consider is that it's going to happen to you too. Let's take a look at Trump's net approval ratings going down.
Approval rating. CNN, you see it on this side of the screen, -5. Gallup, -6. Ipsos, -7. Quinnipiac, -4. Negative, 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 underwater, 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 underwater. These 4 polls, all of them tell a consistent story, and that is Trump is on the negative side of the ledger. His net approval is negative. He is underwater like the Little Mermaid.
All right. What are the changes since the beginning of his term?
Oh,
January.
Right. All right. So we don't have a CNN poll to compare, but we do have the other 3 pollsters that we can look at. Trump's net approval rating, the change since January. Look at this. Gallup, down 5 points. Quinnipiac, down 7 points. Ipsos, down 13 points. They polled right at the beginning of his presidency, so not a big surprise that shows the worst change for Donald Trump. But the bottom line is this. Across the 4 new polls that we have, all of them have Trump in net negative approval rating, and the 3 in which we have a trend line, we see Donald Trump heading in the wrong direction, swimming upstream, you might say.
What is driving this? Like, what is making people so upset?
Yeah, you know, one of Donald Trump's great strengths during his first term, one of Donald Trump's great strengths during the 2024 campaign was the economy, the idea that Donald Trump could fix the economy. This was one.
I'm not going to lie. It does kind of feel like it's not just like a fell for it again award for the Republicans, but also for the Democrats too. Because like lost to this again award goes to the Democrats. If we're going to do fell for it again award for the Republicans that voted for this, then we got to do the lost to this again award for the Democrats who, you know, looked at this baboon and was like, yeah, we should actually apply his policies from 4 years ago to our campaign. And people will vote for us because they love his policies. No, they just love him. They think he's charismatic. They think he is the anger and resentment that they carry for the institutions that have not defended their best interest. He's the mallet. He is the mallet that will destroy the government. Okay? People want radical change. And the Democrats wanted same old diet, same old diet Republican policies.
One of Donald Trump's great strengths. Now it's one of his great weaknesses. What am I talking about? Trump's net approval rating. You go back to his first term, February 2017. Ipsos, he was at plus 16 points on his net approval. Quinnipiac, plus 6. Look at where he is now in Ipsos. He's 8 points underwater on the economy. Quinnipiac, 4 points under on the economy. I honestly never thought I'd see the day in which Donald Trump would be polling so poor on the economy, but that day is here. As I said last week, inflation ate the Joe Biden presidency alive, and right now it is very much the case that Donald Trump is in danger of inflation eating his presidency alive because his net approval ratings on the economy are underwater.
I just have one last question. What's this for?
What's this for? If I wanted to say something,
math?
if I wanted to do math, if I wanted to write.
Do these polls even matter? He's already in power. I mean, he does care. Polls matter in the sense that, like, people come in here all the time and talk about how his popularity increased after the election. It matters in the sense that, like, is the public paying attention? Are they actually recognizing the harm that Donald Trump is doing right now? Polls literally don't matter. They're made up. They don't capture anything. I wipe my ass with polls. Polls are so boring. It's obvious that it doesn't capture the brain dead lump and pearl demo, which is the most of America and most of Trump's base. Bro, this dog is dead today, by the way. Did you guys notice that she has not moved? She's been snoring the entire time.
Unfortunately, it's clear that this council does not listen, so instead I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks. MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them.
Yeah, that was crazy. They also fired so many people in the Forest Service. Like, it's so goddamn annoying. Do you think the midterms will shift blue again? Dude, I don't even remotely care about that at this stage. I mean, look at the Democratic Party, man. Like, oh man, yeah, we're going to shift blue. Okay. What are we going to do after that? That's 2 years away. We haven't even, dude, this is officially the first month of the Burger Reich. Month one of the Burger Reich. 1 month in as of today. 1 month ago, I was about to fly to Japan. It's so bad. 47 plus more months of the Burger Reich. All right, let's finish this.
Including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is...
It's been a month, and I haven't heard any of the congressional Democrats come out with a clear and coherent message like this thus far. It's been a month. The Republicans are actively dismantling the federal government. The Democrats are not using this to actively message against not just Trump, okay, not just Elon, but the entire Republican agenda, the entire Republican Party. It is crazy.
It's profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
Get the heck.
Yeah, they arrested him.